My name's John Roberts, and the photograph was taken at the Albert Dock in March 2015, and it was the first day I'd seen my mum since being told that she had terminal cancer. And we'd spent the day around the Tate Museum having a lot of laughs inside there with my auntie and my cousin. And on the way out, as we were going home, we took the photo together sillily as we were walking back towards the train station. I'd just moved not long into Liverpool, and my mum had been going through tests and stuff like that, and so it was the first day of the week, because of various work commitments I had, it was the first day that I could actually spend time and see her. So that day we met up and we went for dinner at the Bridewell, which is a pub which used to be an old jail of Liverpool, and so all the rooms are in cells, and we had a meal there together and laughs, and then we just decided to go to the Albert Dock. It wasn't a decision we were going to do, we just went off the cuff, and we ended up in the Tate and spending time together. And there was one moment where she sat down and I sneakily took a picture of her and put it on Facebook and called it old for art, and then she obviously got a message on her phone in the middle of the Tate and just burst out laughing right in the middle of the Tate. Yeah, at the end of that day, we just took the photo, and it was more of a conscious decision from me, because my sister and my mum always had loads of photos together, but I was really conscious that me and my mum didn't have that many, and so it was like, right, I've got to just get this captured in a memory, really. Growing up, the relationship with me and my mum was really strong due to various things that she went through with my dad and the divorce and everything that sort of went on. So we had a really close relationship, so much so that we were always laughing and joking, and we used to take the mick out of each other quite a lot. And when friends who didn't really know us all come in, sort of new friends and stuff, they're like, I can't believe you talk to your mum like that, or I can't believe your mum would talk to you like that. It's like, well, that's just how we are. We're more like friends than that sort of parent relationship, you know, and we'll just take the mick out of each other and stuff like that. And obviously there's those more serious moments and those moments where you're at loggerheads with each other, but generally it was always, you know, it was a good time. She was very strong-minded. She knew what she wanted, and if you didn't go her way, then there's trouble. But she was always a person that everyone would always go to her for advice, even her friends and stuff, you know, she would be the first go-to person. She was always laughing and joking, you know, even through the hard times. That's something that, even right until like 2 days before she died, we had a party for her, knowing that, like all her friends and family, and we didn't know she was going to die so soon after that, and you know, we were laughing and joking and stuff like that even till that moment. So she was always bubbly, loved a laugh. If she was in a mood with you, you'd know about it as well. But yeah, she just loved life, and she was welcoming to everybody. You know, there wasn't a time when growing up where I remembered if friends were like being kicked out of homes or didn't have anywhere, they would end up living with us and for periods of time. And my friends used to call her mum as well, so they used to just come in the house. She'd have an open door policy in our house, so friends would just come into the house and just help themselves to whatever was in the cupboards, and that was the kind of crazy madhouse that we were living in. I don't make rash decisions on meeting people, and I think I learned that from her, and you know, the openness of different people's lifestyles, different people's personalities. She would never judge anyone or criticise people for what they do, you know, and she'd always be there for them, and I kind of think that I've inherited that side of her. I think that sort of welcoming person, and you know, the house is always open if people want, you know, to come round and chat and that kind of thing, really. So yeah, the tricky thing with trying to find a picture for this project was, apart from one or two photos, most of them were all silly photos where we're playing tricks on each other or doing silly things. And so there was one serious photo which was at a friend's wedding, but that, for me, it's a nice photo, but it doesn't sum up the kind of relationship that we had. So the photo that I picked, I think, because it was a really poignant day in that sense, but also it just summed up it just sums up the kind of relationship we had together. So that's the reason I picked that. Sometimes it's absolutely fine, and other days a little thing will just trigger off a memory or a thought process. So it's constantly up and down, you know, you're constantly doing that. But I think that spot now will always be like a kind of special place. I think generally it's getting easier, and the sadness starts to become more happiness as you remember those times. I suppose it's still, in a lot of sense, it's still quite fresh, because it's not even a year since she passed away. But yeah, there's moments, where I'd be on a bus or something and I'll read something and go, oh, she'd love that and stuff. And our family have kept a Facebook page quite active still, rather than turning it into a memorial page. So we can post in, and me and my sister have access to that. And, we still send, it sounds crazy, we still send her messages on Facebook. It's our kind of way of dealing with that, I suppose. But yeah, different memories will trigger off different things, and some days won't even compute, and other days you just go bang, there you go, that does. But I suppose in places, me and Mum used to go to the theatre together quite a lot, so that sort of, especially if it's a show that we'd seen together, or a place where we'd had quite a laugh, or that kind of thing, those moments come, and it just takes a few seconds, I suppose, to just compute everything that's going on. But yeah, it's getting easier to turn them into positive memories, and looking at the moments you share together and the joy that came, rather than bringing the sadness, I suppose. Even at a funeral wasn't a funeral as such, it was a celebration, and she was adamant that no one was allowed to wear black, everyone had to have purple, which was her favourite colour, and she had us on the door making sure that everyone had something purple on, and as part of a thing, so even to the last moment she was like cracking the whip. It was funny, I was looking through photos the other day and just going through loads of things, and I found a photo which I'd never seen before, which was of me and my mum when I was a baby, so relatively newborn. And there's a running joke in our family that there's no photographs of me as a baby with my family, saying I was adopted and stuff like that. That was a running gag. It was actually quite touching to see that photo, because I'd never seen it before, didn't even know it existed, and there it was, so I think photos are important, especially the sort of 30 years ago, photography wasn't in the same sort of way, so it was quite expensive to get photos done, so those moments are even more special that you have those. It's been a real learning curve, because both of my parents have now died, so losing my mum suddenly made everything, I suppose that line suddenly goes completely, so it's a real different adjustment that you have to make. It's that point where you just go, right, you're actually on your own now. It's still a big learning curve, there's still things where you adjust, but our family's really close, so those people like my auntie and my sister, my brother-in-law and my niece, we're all quite tight, so we're all helping each other through and constantly, so yeah, I suppose it's going to take time, and I suppose as long as we keep pushing on those good times and that kind of thing, that we'll get through it. I think it's quite cliche. You'll get through it, but it's true. I don't think until you're in those positions, as the saying says, you are stronger than you actually think. And those moments come and they test us in different ways, and I suppose it makes us stronger in various different ways. There has been the anger, there has been the confusion, there has been why us, because as a family we've been through quite a lot over the 30 years that I've been part of that family, really. But I suppose it's that thing that my mum would always instill, always look at the positive side of life. If you look at the negatives constantly, then you probably will go on a bit of a spiral, and when she died as well, just messages from people all over the world that I'd never even known that she'd met, and just who touched, and various stories like she was on a mission trip, and she was working with a couple and they couldn't afford a coat, so she'd gone out and bought them a coat each, and just things that I'd had no idea, and people in Malaysia through her friends calling her Auntie Steph because of how she just connected with the family. It's like, this is madness. And people in Kenya, priests in Kenya who she'd worked with when she'd gone to Kenya and stuff. It's like, this is absolute madness. So there's this whole other area of my mum that I had no idea. I kind of knew it existed, but not to what extent and stuff like that. So I suppose you could take a lot of joy from the fact that even, in 53 years, she'd touched and blessed so many other people through various things that, you could take great comfort in that, I suppose.